you never got a live view in the first place, so you didn't hear any of the first portion of the show. So that is fucked, and that is I don't know whether it saved any of it before, but whatever. Sorry. I don't have the stomach. I don't have the stomach to do it again. So, and yeah, I'm carrying on. Thank you, man. So, so the idea was this kind of, bald face, unadulterated, unmitigated view of mortality, right? I mean, we're talking, 8 o'clock in the morning and so this is actually the kind of guy that you want to be doing your stuff, right? I mean, because if you don't think Ozzy knew he was dying, he said he was dying. He said he was dying like a week before. I mean, some of these things, I just read whose death Dennis Hopper's death. And Dennis Hopper was refusing to accept it. And then finally, like the week he actually died, he was accepting it. And they said, listen, this is what's happening. This is what you're feeling now. And he was like, all right. Wow, this is heavy. And I'm like, yeah. And then like he had his family around him and he, I mean, in addition to saying he wasn't going to do the interview with me, he was like, all right. This is it. So, listen, at that point, your choices winnow down to there are not a lot of choices, right? They're not. I mean, like when I interviewed Evander Holyfield, and he said, you could walk downtown, or take a poop in a hole in the ground. I was like, I usually like those Southern similes, but this was a very strange one. This Southern simile, poop in the ground. Okay, man. But he's right. Right now, any one of us has a multitude of options and choices that we could make about any given thing. I could stand up. I could jump out the window. I could, put poop in a plastic bag, which I talked about in the last show, but you'll never see it because I don't even know if it was recorded. The whole poop in the plastic bag theorem. But at the end, your choices, like I went in to see Whipping Boy's old drummer, Steve Shaughnessy, on a Thursday. He said, I think I'm dying. I went to lie to him and said, no, you'll be fine. You got to get yourself out of here. I said, I think you're dying too, bro. And sure enough, the next Tuesday, some people were planning to go see him. I was going to go see him. So now he's not here to be seen. He's gone. He's gone. Yeah, and let me tell you something. What RP there says there is 100% right. People didn't understand. I got on stage at one point in the middle of the show and I talked about how I had surgery on April 24th. And people were like, look at your show. You're a Scirocco up there. You're a whirlwind up there. And you had surgery? I said, yeah, bro, I had surgery. And I watch me. And I ripped through that show. And the second the last song was off, I started hobbling for the stairs off the stage. People had to help me off the stage. That's right. Get busy living and get busy dying. We had to help me, and it wasn't like I was. And it caused me to change the show to a certain extent. There were a couple of shows in which I was like, Grand Rapids, Michigan, at this place called Pyramid Scheme, and I was like, I'm jumping off the stage, man. Fuck that. And then what didn't stop me was the idea of jumping off the stage. That's not what stopped me. Jumping off the stage, everybody knows you jump off something. It's easy, right? Jumping off, it's easy. It's easy. That's not what I was concerned about. I was concerned about climbing back on the stage and being able to do it in a dignified way. And that wasn't happening at all. Yeah, I already talked to Enterprise. I already talked about that, how somebody had said, that Sharon rolled him out there to squeeze every last nickel out of him. But I think the guy wanted to put a period on the end of a sentence, and the rest of us should be so lucky. I don't want to die at 76. But, bro, going out, at 86 or 92, I'm being an optimist, on stage well, it wasn't on stage. That would be a drag to die on stage. But after what is conceivably not even conceivably, right? They were talking about, this is not really the end of Black Sabbath. We're going to do some special things. You're not doing shit. Dude is dead. Yeah, my knee felt like shit afterwards. TM. That's right. This was what city did the TM come to? It was Ann Arbor, so someplace in Michigan. Yeah, Grand Rapids. Yeah, I was. So yeah, man. You somehow. I've been sicker than sick. You somehow come alive on something about putting the mic. Yeah. So now you know why guys like Jackie Wilson and all that, they will do this shit to the bitter end. And at some point, I remember telling my ex-wife at one point, I had this idea, and it was an idea pulled from TV commercials. I had this idea that I would give up these, foibles of youth, this playing rock and roll, that I would just, it's kind of stupid. What am I doing? I wasted my time, like, and then these guys get married and they have kids, and they're like, hey man, we're going to put the band back together. And then I remember thinking, like, why not? Why not keep playing? The guys older than me, the old blues guys. A friend of mine used to get his hair cut in the same place John Lee Hooker got his haircut. John Lee Hooker was like 78 at that point. I said, what is he eavesdrop? What is he talking about? And John Lee Hooker is talking about fucking groupies. 78 years old. Hey man, game doesn't change. You like what you like, and there's no reason to. You can't tell me there's any staff meeting anywhere in the world that'd be more worth doing than what I'm on stage, even if there's 30 people there. I don't give a shit. Did not give a shit, yeah. The Southern Coppers were great, man. Hey, can I talk to you about the good word? No. I got to get out. Nah, we just want to. No, man, this is, it's a new day. You need to discover this, the person you are meant to be, and Jesus can help you do that. So, so this is what I'm thinking about every day, all day, interrupted only by an occasional text from somebody in my life, who's like, hey, Eugene, what's happening? And I'm like, oh, a break from this morbid self-attention. Thank God I could shake it. And I text review back and forth. Mr. RP was one of them, text back and forth. And then the text would stop and I'd just be at that ribbon road in front of me, that gray expanse of tomorrow, and then finally that final tomorrow. And it's not like I'm not scared. Yeah, nah, fucks like on you. We had all kinds of tech problems, Yeah, the other guys in the band, the two Italian guys and the one French guy, they were ecstatic because they'd never toured America before. And I've toured America a bunch, and I was, the nattering nabob of negativity. They didn't give a shit. They were just, and fortunately my fucked up knee and my hip kept me, they were like, we're going to go walk and we want to see. They went out for 7 hours in New York City to see from Statue of Liberty to the Empire State Building, shit that no way was I going to do. I don't want to be a pain in the ass, but I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. But they enjoyed it, and they were good with it. And what was funny is the drummer. We all have other bands. At this point now, I have Buñuel, but I still have these projects. The next one up on deck is Bomb a Little Joy. And the record is called Baby Blue. And Justin Broderick produced some portions of it. And it's got some of the guys from the band Keelhaul playing live sections of it. Despite that, it's not heavy metal. It's not metal of any kind. It's it's a phenomenal record. I don't know what to tell you. You actually got to hear it. If I told you it was done by Justin Bieber, you'd laugh until you heard it. Like, Eugene could sing? Yes. Finally, somebody letting my voice do. And keep in mind, the session for this Bomb a Little Joy was the one I dragged myself out of my sick bed. This and the 6 Buñuel songs I already recorded for the next record, which is called Slow Danger. And dragged myself out of, I did 10 songs for Bomb a Little Joy. And then I did 6 songs for Buñuel. I had to lay down at least 3 times during the session because when I stood up, the blood rushed into my recently operated on knee, and it was just like, yo, bro, I can't concentrate. I can't concentrate at all. So the Soul Glow thing did happen. If you could see, you could see the Substack. They were like, hey, man, and they just happened to pop up again the same day I was in Philly. I was like, hey, man, I'm in Philly. We could talk about it. You guys could come to the sound check. They go, our studio is here. You could just come by and record it. I was like, hey, man, why belabor it? Why? I'm like Frank Sinatra at the end. Frank Sinatra. You look at Joe Piscopo as Frank Sinatra during the duets period of Frank Sinatra. So don't have a lot of time. Get in, get out. You record your bit. You get in, you get out. Yeah, I put out a record called a project with this band called Las Vegas, and I had a song on it called 1,000 Ways to Say Yes. 1,000 ways to say yes. At this point now, I'm like Dennis Hopper, Steve Jobs, Ozzy. I'm looking forward, not eagerly, but I'm looking at a forward future of wanting to be in that position and not say anything remotely close to, I wish I had, I shoulda, I coulda, maybe I woulda. Nah. Every disgusting stone unturned. No, every disgusting, how's it go? I will leave no stone unturned. I will leave no disgusting stone unturned. I will turn over every disgusting stone that I find. And at the end, you have, to me, the only jury that makes any difference is the jury of your children. Jury of your children, right? Those are the people that you want to hear good things from your kids. But even barring that, were my kids to say, I wish you had been more present, which I wish as well. Having 3 jobs, like right between Apple and Adobe is when I started with the 3 jobs thing. I made over $300,000 for actually 2.5 jobs. But yeah, man, now that I've spent like all this time with Cora, I realize that I lost a lot. But that's life in America. I had to work. You got to work. I get up and go. It's be in the morning with the kids getting ready, take them to a nanny or school, and then see you in 8 hours, kids. That means 8 of your hours is spent working for other people. 8 of your hours is spent sleeping. And that last 8 hours, man, your kids are sleeping for half of that. You're seeing your kids for 4 hours a day, fucking sucks. It absolutely sucks. And these people can't figure out why they have shitty relationships with their kids. There's a kid who threw themselves in front of the train in Palo Alto, right behind Pali High, where they've had this problem before. And I get on an airplane. They can't Donna Shalala me on my own show. I get on an airplane after happen to be sitting next to the teacher of this student. Said this student was a great kid, sense of humor, really funny, really smart, great parents, really understanding family, but was having mental health issues that they were trying to address, and they just couldn't get in front of them. Kid walked over to the tracks, threw their knapsack off into the bushes, sat down on the tracks, cross-legged with their back to the train, atomized. Yeah, it's been going on. It's been going on for years. Yeah, I mean, I've given speeches at Pali High, Casalea, Los Altos High, Fremont High, Homestead High. For some reason, Galileo in San Francisco. For some reason, I got tapped as being like, they thought, man, this guy's solidly insane. But if he shows kids that there's another path they could take, no stone unturned. Because, by the time your kid hits 13 or 14, they don't want to spend time with you. They have their own, especially I find, I don't know anything about sons. I mean, I've got a buddy who's very close with his sons, and they go out for drinks and they hang out. Kids are like 17. And you drink with a 17. I'd rather him do it with me than do it. Fine. My daughters at 17, their personal lives were so complex. So they, at one point, one of mine broke up with her boyfriend and was walking along the road crying because she'd gotten a bicycle that I bought her stolen. And she just gave me a call. She's crying, Dad, could you pick me up? And I went and I picked her up. And even then, I couldn't get a straight answer about what was going on. You know, yeah, the one that took place about 3 months ago on Churchill. Yeah. I mean, I am against telling people. I've had a number of different people. What VO is referring to is Carl Umrigar, who kept telling me he was going to kill himself. And I go, who am I to tell him that I can't give him reasons that he needs to be alive if he doesn't have those reasons himself. But nothing makes you want to be alive more than knowing you'll soon be dead. So every single show you get on stage to do is a brick in the wall of a future that will eventually come to an end. And you don't want to be standing there in front of that wall contemplating, God damn, I wish I'd used mortar. I don't like this finish here. I wish I'd used sandstone or granite. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. And keep in mind, that's a good thing, but that's also massively a bad thing. By which I mean, there's very little I deny myself. If there are 1,000 ways to say yes, and I'm saying yes to all those 1,000 ways, there's going to be trouble afoot. There's going to be trouble afoot. And I make no bones about it. It's like I said, keep in mind, I've been flying all over the place. I decided, let me straighten out my bag here. It's gotten kind of chaotic. I can't find stuff. And I find no fewer than 3 Schedule II narcotics. Three. Only one of which I've taken on the road. So only one of which I need to bring along. It's just, I forgot. I'm like a squirrel. I hide these things all over the place. Safe places that's difficult for kids to get to because I'm not an irresponsible parent. I go, oh, what is this little key? What is this little lock? This little pocket on my bag is locked. I want to open it up. Oh, man. You got one of these backpacks with 16 pockets in it. You don't notice the one with the little lock on it. Is this stuff any good? These are not questions you need to ask yourself in an 11,000-mile drive with 20 shows in front of you. You do not ask these questions, Oh, the fentanyl patch. Yeah, that's exactly the kind of stuff I'm talking about. We used to put together a box. We used to call it the magical box for the traveling, for the, what is it? Something. I can't even remember. The idea was for the aging musician, medicines for the aging musician, anti-diarrheal, antibiotic, inflammatory, anti-diarrheal, and Ambien. A friend of mine was a doctor, give me prescriptions for like a whole box full of stuff, and I'd travel with, and I'd say, well, after the show, what should I take? What should I? Oh, I'm gonna watch a little television, and that's to quote Grady from Sanford and Son, who many have compared me to, especially when I grow out the beard. Anyway, so this is the meditation on the road, and people say, "Well, the show is great." The show's, man, I can't even pay attention to the shows. It's battlefield time. All I'm paying attention to these days are people shooting at me. And by shooting at me, I mean, anything that's going to make that last minute in bed when I'm contemplating all that's been laid before me, behind me. And if I'm desperately not wanting to find it wanting. So tour high points, like I mentioned in the tagline, staying at Richard Iceman Kuklinski's murder hotel, by which I mean, if you read the book, The Iceman, you know that he had killed somebody, put them under the bed in this motel that still stands. It's a Super 8 in New Jersey, and just left them there. They couldn't, this room smells terrible. So we tried to get the actual room, but nobody at the front desk knew what the fuck we were talking about. I'm going to leave these all up. I'm going to leave these all up until tomorrow. Keep in mind, I'm 9 hours ahead of you. Yeah, that's out of that box came the Ambien that I took with the Jaeger that night. Yeah, we're not no need to repeat that this soon. Um, so this is what's been on my head, in my mind, for all these days on the road, and it changes the tour experiment. I'm sure plenty of people think, oh, it's like crazy, like they're throwing couches out of windows and stuff. No, it was 20 days of me in the front seat like this. Take a screenshot of that and save it. And I was sitting in the front row, so nobody could see me. So it was like, Jesus Christ Almighty, I don't know. And there were high points. Seeing Gerard Kozloy from Matador there with King Coffee from the Butthole Surfers, that was a high point. I'm in Poland, which I talked about on the last show, but of course nobody heard the last show, so we're fucked. Who did I say? Joe Gross, a guy who used to write for the Austin Monthly, a good writer who I like. Sarah Bernstein, a great cellist, played on some of the music I've been on before. My mom, the whole family. Lola showed up in New York. It's a blast. My friend Camille Paradise, Gene Okerlund. It was a goodly number of people who I was really happy to see. And generally, I hate that. And generally, I hate it. So you're going to come to a Boone Wellness show. You come to a Boone Wellness show because you like Boone Well, not because you're just like, hey, this is a good chance for me to hang out with Eugene. Fuck that. I would rather you not be there. I want this shit organic 100%. I want you to know when I'm getting lyrics wrong. So this whole idea that I had as a young man, someday I'll get too old for this. I want to do it. Nah. Now I know what happens. Yeah, last Black Sabbath show, and then dude dies. If they had told him there were 20 more shows, he would have. What is that? The Almodovar movie where the director refuses to finish the film because he's got this massive superstition that the second he finishes the film, he dies. And then they finally say, that's ridiculous. You're crazy. Just finish the film. And he finishes the film. And of course, he fucking dies. It's like, man, look at the statistics with men in retirement, which I have just sort of kind of semi-retired, though I will still accept work if it doesn't involve me going to staff meetings. Think about this for a second. Think about it. No, guys retire and then they die. Their bodies go, what are you needed for? Fortunately, men with children live longer. Men with daughters live longer. Men with younger daughters live longer. It's like your body resets itself, like, gotta stay alive to protect this chick. So there's a chance. But stopping doing music, I listen to Bomb a Little Joy and I go, I must be crazy. I'm making a significant aesthetic contribution to the cultural lives of the world. You start talking like that, you're about to die. So here we go. Mr. Idge, he was there in Chicago. My leg was pulsing so badly that I said I can either go out to greet him and his old lady half naked, or I could just take my time here. And I missed seeing you, Mr. Idge. I didn't. That was a drag. I'm sorry. I didn't like having it fall out like that, but I did the best I could. So anyway, in regards to the fights last night, nobody gives a shit. I read what used to be Bloody Elbow, the new site, the one that Steph and John are on. I can't remember, the MMA Weekly, whatever they call it now. And it felt like I was reading letters from Abu Ghraib. The fact that they had to watch it to report on it seemed to me worse than having to go to any staff meeting. You go to a staff meeting, my typical MO at a staff meeting is to get a nice, comfortable seat and just think about whatever. Have my mind on it enough so that if they ask me a question that I can kind of address it in the answer that somehow makes sense, versus that time where I was clearly doing something else and some wise ass called on me and I slam my fist on the desk and go, I'm done being a plaything of the rich. Had nothing to do with what I was asked, what people appreciated. Maybe we should leave Eugene the fuck alone now. And they did. I mean, I could have come up with something like, Purple is the worst color on the spectrum. Let's just leave him alone. Just let's leave him alone, you know? Yeah, man. I mean, you know, we'll watch the fights for what? I mean, listen, you'll start to recognize a familiar MO here. Bobby Knuckles, Robert Whitaker is going to go out against this guy. And, you know, they all come in looking different, like Tom Wolfe said, in the right stuff. But when they all leave this cage, you know, they look the same. How's that? Scared. Leaving the cage or leaving this life, the mathematics are clearly very similar. Yeah, there were fights last night. Yeah, you know, the idea is to leave.
Thanks for joining us this week for yet another episode of the Stomper podcast, featuring your host, Eugene S. Robinson. Follow Eugene's weekly newsletter, which is a soaring hit, over at eugenesrobinson.substack.com. If you're still hanging on to Twitter, he's there at Eugene S. Robinson. While you're at it, you can follow him on Insta at Mr. Sleep 3. That's the number 3. For more episodes of the show that seemingly never ends, go to showstopperpodcast.substack.com. Eventually, it will house all the Knuckle Up archives we can locate. We already have all the jiu-jitsu breakdowns for free. Check out Eugene on the Bad Boss Brief podcast, as well as the If the Shoes Fit podcast. Pick up his memoir, A Walk Across Dirty Water and Straight into Murderer's Row, today, and be sure to leave him a much appreciated, honest Amazon review. Hey, are you still there? I'm here too. This is me, June M. Williams, Eugene's producer. The Show Stomper has been produced since 2015 by Original Designs, owned and operated by myself, June M. Williams. I provide Eugene with things like videography, original show graphics, motion graphics, show logos, podcast syndication, social media, and more. I can be reached at orijunels@gmail.com, which is spelled ORIJUNELS@gmail.com.